Allegations versus allegations. Karnataka government warns officers. IPS and IAS officer gagged and shunted. What next for the warring officers?
This is truly a vicious and ugly story at the upper echelons of the bureaucracy in pole-bound Karnataka, and it has triggered an absolute scandal. A senior IPS officer, a senior IAS officer have both been shunted after a vicious, ferocious war of words where allegations of nude pictures, allegations of corruption, allegations of omission and commission have been flying thick and fast between these two power women. I'm Shiv, Aroor. We're going to put the spotlight on this big story that appears to have ticked off the PMO as well. They've gotten involved to tell off the Bombay government for not being able to control such an ugly spat from breaking the surface. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Shiv. This is 5 Live. These are the headlines. External Affairs Minister S. Shankar slams Rahul Gandhi on containing China, says Modi sent the Indian army to the LAC, not Rahul Gandhi. Supreme Court to hear Uddhav plea against Election Commission at 3:30 p.m. tomorrow. Uddhav camp plea claims office taken over by Shinde, seeks to stop Shinde from taking over bank accounts. External Affairs Minister S. Shankar slams Rahul Gandhi on containing China, says Modi sent the Indian army to the LAC, not Rahul Gandhi.
If we were being accommodative, who sent the Indian army to the LAC? Rahul Gandhi didn't send them. Narendra Modi sent them. The largest peacetime deployment in our history on the China border. Please notice, I said China, C-H-I-N-A.
Lyricist Javed Akhtar schools Pakistan terrormongers, names and shames Pakistan in Pakistan, says 2611 killers still roaming free in that country.
हम तो बंबई के लोग हैं, हमने देखा हमारे शहर पे कैसे हमला हुआ था, तो वो लोग नॉर्वे से तो नहीं आए थे, ना इजिप्ट से आए थे, वो लोग अभी भी आपके मुल्क में घूम रहे हैं.
And a day after President Biden's Ukraine visit, Vladimir Putin of Russia breathes fire in his address before the first-year anniversary of his invasion of Ukraine, accuses the West of starting this entire war. A worse, more ugly spat between senior bureaucrats in a pole-bound state like Karnataka cannot be imagined. And this is my big story of the day because it's very telling and it involves two high-profile bureaucrats, both of them who happen to be women in this case, an IPS officer and an IAS officer. This public spat between these two officers has shocked the public. And it has had echoes not just in Karnataka, but across the country, even reaching the Prime Minister's office. It all began when IPS officer Rupa claimed that IAS officer Rohini Sindhuri Dasari had sent indecent pictures to others and to other senior IAS officers and proceeded to share the said photos on social media. This has triggered a truly ugly crossfire, with both officers now being shunted from their posts.
Two top officers of Karnataka at war. A verbal spat that played out not just on social media, but on television screens across the country. Now, both IPS D Roopa and IAS Rohini Sindhuri have been transferred. The Karnataka Chief Secretary has summoned both the officers and sought a clarification from them. This, a day after State Home Minister warned of action against the two officers. This viral image of IAS Rohini with JDS Neta Sara Ramesh is what triggered the feud. The two had accused each other of corruption in 2021. and D Roopa alleged that the meeting suggested that the bureaucrat and the politician had struck a deal. Then on Sunday, IPS Officer D Roopa Modgil shared private photos of IAS Officer Rohini Sindhuri on social media. She claimed that Rohini had violated service conduct rules by sending her photos to at least 3 male IAS officers.
Whose fault is it that the next step, that is after preliminary inquiry, the logical step is that the disciplinary inquiry should be held. So why is the disciplinary inquiry not held against her? Every time she escapes these kind of actions, why is that? Who are the officers who are helping her?
Enraged by the allegations of corruption and her private photos being made public, bureaucrat Rohini hit back, insinuating that Roopa suffered from a mental illness.
All I can say is get well soon.
Side, please. Side, sir.
The public squabble between the two women officers caused a flurry in bureaucratic circles. And while both D Roopa and Rohini Sindhuri have now a gag order against them, the virulent exchange has dented the image of both the government officers. Bureau Report, India Today.
So as you can already imagine, 2 high-profile women officers of the Karnataka state and salacious allegations flying on both sides. Allegations of indecent or nude pictures being shared with IAS officers and all manner of talk happening surrounding these 2 women who've risen to the very top of their professions in the bureaucracy in Karnataka. Now let's just take you through some details of the allegations and the counter-allegations between Roopa, the IPS officer, and Rohini, the IAS officer. First, Roopa's allegations. She says that Rohini, IAS officer Rohini, sent indecent pictures to several male IAS officers. She also says it was unethical to have sent such pictures to officers and goes against service rules. She says that Rohini is involved in corrupt practices and has struck a deal with a politician who she had previously been inquiring against. Number 2, Rohini's counter-allegations. She says this is personal vilification campaign, a personal vilification campaign being mounted by Rupa Modgil, but she doesn't say what that campaign is really about. She says Rupa has lifted pictures of Rohini. They're not nudes or indecent pictures, she says. These are my own pictures that have been lifted from my social media and made to look like as if I've been sending these indecent so-called pictures to others. She says these are allegations that are baseless and based on hatred. That's what Rohini is saying at this point of time. I want to go across to India Today's Sagai Raj, who joins me live from Bengaluru for more on this this simmering story. Sagai, you know, a worse, more high-profile face-off cannot be imagined in Karnataka. You know, both Rupa Modgil and Rohini Sindhuri are extremely high-profile. In many ways, they are very popular. They're very visible officers. You know, I'm sure they've done a great deal of good work in their time. But what was the trigger for this face-off? You know, was it Sagai, some corruption allegations, or was it indecent pictures? What was it?
See, Rupa is alleging that there is a corruption, there is a case of honey trap, there is a case of trying to lure the colleagues of Rohini Sindhuri. But Rohini Sindhuri clearly said that those were personal pictures. And initially, there was a statement from Rohini Sindhuri saying that she is sharing the pictures which has been shared on social media. But yesterday when she came out to give a clarification, she said that she's not on social media, she never spoken about anybody. But why that kind of a statement? But still, it is the Chief Secretary who has taken cognizance of it, and he has shunted out not only Rupa and Rohini Sindhuri, he has also shunted out Rupa's husband. But he got a posting. These IPS and IAS officer Rohini and Rupa did not get a posting, but Rupa's husband, who is also an IAS officer, he got a posting, and even he has been transferred from his current position to a different place. So as of now, there is also a gag order issued against them, stating that they should not speak about this. And Shiv, just to get you background of it, Rupa also alleged that DK Ravi case, where Rohini had taken a stay order from Karnataka High Court when the Congress had plans to table the CID report much before they could hand over the case to CBI. There was a CID report which had investigated and which was supposed to file, and there was a lot of information, personal information, which had been shared between DK Ravi and Rohini Sindhuri. And Rupa was trying to highlight even that in this particular conversation, saying that what exactly happened to DK Ravi, why he had committed suicide, even that report should be read and all those things. So she's trying to bring everything in public, but Rohini Sindhuri says that she's not the boss. She's not supposed to talk about me like this, because anything about work she can go ahead and talk, but nothing personal on a public forum.
And obviously, apart from the corruption allegations, the big talking point among very salacious public consuming this story has been about alleged indecent pictures being shared. In fact, Rupa Modgil has also shared certain pictures on her social media. I just checked; they're still there. But Rohini says these are pictures from her social media that have been picked up. So what exactly are the allegations? Who is she alleging these pictures were actually sent to, and for what? We don't know. Those are private details that we don't want to get into, but they've now become part of an inquiry because service rules will also come into play. We've got some breaking news coming in now. And obviously, this very, very ugly spat between the two lady officers has reached not just the Chief Minister's door, but also the Prime Minister's office. Chief Minister Bombai's first reaction on the Rohini versus Rupa spat is out. He's just spoken to India today, and he says that the Chief Secretary has taken action and the state knows what action to take. All of this coming amidst reports that the Prime Minister's office is not at all happy that something like this has bubbled to the surface and that the CMO, Chief Minister's office, wasn't able to contain it.
ಯಾವ ಸಮಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ಕ್ರಮಗಳನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದುಕೋಬೇಕಂತ ಸರ್ಕಾರಕ್ಕೆ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ. ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಚೀಫ್ ಸೆಕ್ರೆಟರಿ ಏನು ಸೂಚನೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀರಿ.
ಮೇಡಮ್ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ CS ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಕೊಡ್ಸಿದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಸರ್? ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಸ್ ಇದೆ ಸರ್.
ಏನು ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಇಲ್ಲ, ನೀವು ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ.
ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ
ನಮ್ಮ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ಏನು ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಆಗಿದೆ.
Let's go back to Sagai Raj for a quick reaction on that. Sagai, reports coming in that the Prime Minister's office has also reached out and is not very happy with the handling of this entire situation. They would have preferred that something like this be handled internally instead of it exploding in the full glare of the media and on social media.
Absolutely. Even in the gag order which has been issued to both Rupa and Rohini, they have asked not to speak to the media. And even if they have to speak about the administrative issue, about the government with the permission of the government, not making personal statement, not making personal comments on a public forum. And they have also said that there is a platform for them to go ahead and address the grievances rather than going to media. And as you rightly pointed out, yes, there are batchmates of these IPS officers and IAS officers who also work in Delhi. The issue has been escalated. The officers also work in PMO's office who have also taken cognizance of this issue, and they have instructed the CMO here to take this issue seriously and address much before it goes out of control.
Stay with me, Sagai. Let's tell you a little bit more about these women. If you live in Karnataka, you've definitely seen both IPS Rupa and IAS Rohini Sindhuri in the news. If you don't live in Karnataka, this is still very important because, like I said, the repercussions of this story have stretched way beyond just Karnataka, a poll-bound state. That's the reason why it is being amplified even more and is becoming more visible, because it shows that the government is not being able to control its senior bureaucrats in indulging in this open and very public and ugly warfare. Let's tell you a little bit about Super Cop Rupa, and she has been known to have a reputation as being a super cop. She's a 2000 batch Indian Police Service officer, that's IPS officer. She was MD of the Karnataka State Handicraft Development Corporation Limited. In 2022, she accused the ex-chairman of that development corporation of abusing power and financial irregularities. In 2020, Rupa was accused of trying to gain classified information on a government tender. In 2017, Rupa accused jail officials of VIP treatment to then imprisoned Sasikala, Jayalalitha's top aide Sasikala. And this is actually something that shot her into the national limelight as being a brave, fearless officer who was calling out VIP favors being handed out to Sasikala in the Parapanagrahara prison near Bengaluru. In 2016, Rupa Maudgil was conferred with the President's Police Medal for meritorious service. In 2004, she had gained quite a bit of fame after arresting former Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Uma Bharti over a 1994 riots case. So she's been pretty much in the limelight. She's very popular on social media as well, and is known to be a media-savvy and media-friendly face among the IPS in Karnataka. Her husband is also an officer in the bureaucracy of Karnataka. He has also been transferred in light of this entire thing. Now let's tell you about Rohini Sindhuri. She is a 2009 batch Indian Administrative Services officer. She was Commissioner of the Hindu Religious and Charitable Endowment Department. In 2022, a singer accused Rohini Sindhuri of property encroachment with land mafia's help. In 2020, she was blamed for 24 deaths after allegedly stopping oxygen cylinders transportation. This was during the pandemic. In 2019, she was accused of damaging official property in Mysore as the district commissioner. In 2018, district collector, I beg your pardon. In 2018, she was transferred out from her then position for a public spat with H.D. Revanna during the Congress JDS tenure. H.D. Revanna, of course, was the chief minister's brother at that time. 2015, identified as an exemplary performer under the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan 1 year into the first Modi government. And in 2008, she was under the CBI radar for allegedly sending messages to IAS officer D.K. Ravi before his suicide. So these are some of the details that we have about these two high-profile officers. I want to get a perspective from a seasoned former bureaucrat about this very ugly episode, that has dominated the media headlines, not just in Karnataka, but now in the national media as well. Yashovardhan Azad is a former IPS, Special Director, Intelligence Bureau, and former Secretary Security of the Central Information Commission. Mr. Azad, always a pleasure, sir. Thank you for being with me. In this day and age of 24/7 media, especially social media, it looks like something like this, could have always happened. But it's a very ugly, very, very high-profile spat that has taken place. Your views on it? I don't want to ask any leading questions, but one is an IPS officer, the other is an IAS officer, both with a great degree of responsibility and profile within the state. What do you make of this, sir? Very, very specific allegations being thrown between the both of them.
Coming from the civil services, I think it's actually a real sordid saga. And this kind of a rivalry and bitterness coming out in the open between these two officers is really extremely unfortunate. But the more unfortunate part, Shiv, Aroor, is that nobody has read the Riot Act to them. And that means that you cannot do this kind of a dirty linen washing in the public. No matter what differences you have, the government has to stand very firmly behind that order in keeping these people quiet. And I would blame it is the failure of the chief secretary and the DGP to rein in these two bureaucrats. Normally, Shiv, in such circumstances, immediately they are called by their respective seniors and asked to put a hold on such, public kind of comments. In this particular case, I feel a lot has been going on social media. In fact, today, things have, as you rightly said, have really changed. Today, when the new officers come, they sit on their desks and send their photographs on Twitter and say that they have joined. So they have become extremely, visible, some of them very, very popular too. But they don't realize that they are not larger than the service itself. And that is why these things are happening on. Secondly, the other point is that the state government seems to be very, very laxed for their own problems. They are facing a lot of problems, and therefore somehow they don't want to come administratively hard on such officers. This has unfortunately led to a kind of a laughing stock outside. And this is being talked upon not only by the TV channels, but all over when people are saying that two women fighting like this, we have never seen that this would have happened in the services too. Therefore, number one, I think the chief secretary and the DGP should call them and ask them to shut up. They have already been transferred, but also there should be caution, and there should be some kind of a departmental inquiry against them as to why this kind of a dirty linen has been washed in public.
Obviously, there's a very personal element to what's going on, Mr. Azad. And, I don't want to get into many of the details. You've read about them, but there are allegations of indecent pictures being sent, to male officers. We don't know, whether the husbands are involved. It's become a very personal kind of thing. And it appears to go beyond just, professional differences or allegations of any kind. Because otherwise, one can imagine that in our bureaucracy, by and large, all our bureaucrats are bound by service rules, aware of service rules. They are aware of the damaging effects that can happen from, like you rightly put it, washing dirty linen in public. When you say the DGP and the Chief Secretary should have read the Riot Act to them, where does this kind of thing actually come from, sir? The fearlessness to go out in the public, fully aware of the possible repercussions that something like this can happen.
As I told you, some of the officers feel that they are larger than the service itself, and they have developed, because of the social media gives them a wrong impression that they are larger than life. I mean, there is, as you said, a code of conduct. You cannot violate the code of conduct. But what is shocking here is that, one, even aside from the fact that they are from the services, there is something called a privacy issue. I know that the Privacy Act has the bill has not been enacted, but still there is an IPC, there is a CRPC where you cannot violate somebody else's privacy. So a lot of things which are going on. First, I don't know how it is unknown to these two officers, number one. And number two, the biggest surprise to me is, why didn't the state government step in right in the beginning to curb this at the initial stage itself? So I think, the government has lost a lot of credibility because of this. And as you rightly said, before the elections, and this kind of an atmosphere where senior officers are fighting like cats and dogs has created a very, very bad impression for the government and these officers too.
Stay with me, Mr. Azad. I just need you for a minute longer. I just want to also just quickly tell our viewers about the code of conduct. Many people may not know, but I'm sure people can imagine what code of conduct will be. It's not rocket science. There are certain things that you certainly cannot do when you're, serving the administrative services. But here are the, code of conduct highlights that would have applied in this particular case. For one thing, obviously, you cannot send compromising pictures to senior officers, as is being alleged. We don't know if it's true. No impartiality in the discharge of duties. That is an allegation that's being thrown at Rohini. Maintain courtesy and good behavior with public. Cannot influence firms to secure jobs for relatives. Cannot criticize the government in public media. And cannot take part in politics and polls during service. Just final question to you, Mr. Azad. Both these officers have now been transferred. What kind of disciplinary action, if any, would be taken? Would this affect their careers? What would happen going forward, and what kind of effect would it happen on the service in Karnataka, sir?
You see, first of all, I don't think it will make an impact on the service itself, because the service morale, etc., their colleagues, etc., would be aghast at their behavior. That is number one. Number two, it depends on they have violated all codes of conduct, as you rightly read out a list of all those. And number three, the decision can be taken to hold a departmental inquiry against them, which means a preliminary inquiry which establishes their guilt in violating the code of conduct, and then framing a charge that is you are accused of such and such thing. And after that, a departmental inquiry to be held by a senior officer. And if they are found guilty, they can be given a minor punishment or a major punishment, which means either their service increment. If it's a minor punishment, is the increment which can be stopped. If it's a major punishment, it can be reduced. It may have an impact if somebody writes this in their ACR, that they are unable to adjust and that they have violated the code of conduct. So it depends all on the government. And what happens, Shiv, unfortunately, is depending on the government, how they are, inclined towards the officers, they take decision more on what they like or don't like than actual facts. So let's see what happens in this case. I hope they have been cautioned sufficiently and they don't do anything more beyond this. and maybe they are let off with a warning too.
Okay, and we'll keep our viewers updated on the inquiry that takes place going forward. Yashovardhan Azad, thank you very much, sir, for your wisdom and your inputs and perspective on this story, because it is a world, after all, that many people are not familiar with, but there are many, many rules that apply in these cases. And the work of both these women affects the public as well. So it's very unseemly to see this very public spat taking place with ugly allegations flying from both sides. We'll keep our viewers posted. That's a promise here on India Today. Thank you very much to Mr. Azad for joining us. Quick break here on 5 Live. On the other side, one of India's top singers, Sonu Nigam, was roughed up and manhandled by the men and son of a Udhav Sena MLA right after a concert, all over a selfie, if you can believe it. We're going to tell you those shocking details next.
जैसे सबसे तेज आपकी टैगलाइन है, तो इसी तरह से सबसे तेज हमारी सरकार की लाइफलाइन है.
Leader must have a vision.
We will continue to work with the developing and the developed world for win-win solutions.
Nature had of course willed the survival of the fittest.
हम आतंकवाद के खिलाफ जीरो टॉलरेंस की पॉलिसी को अपनाए हुए हैं.
एक साल के अंदर राहुल कन्वर की कार जो होगी वो इलेक्ट्रिक की होगी.
There is a confrontation of competing visions.
The first schedule of Tiger Shroff and Akshay Kumar's Bade Miyan Chote Miyan has been wrapped up. The news was confirmed by the producer of the film, Jackie Bhagnani.
सर अपनी अगली फिल्म अनाउंस कर रहा हूँ.
कब आ रही तेरी?
क्रिसमस 2023.
मुझसे क्लैश करेगा? क्या नाम है तेरी फिल्म का?
सर छोटे मियां. आपका?
बड़े मियां.
Tiger Shroff too took to social media to share this picture and wrote, "It was an honor riding alongside you, Bade. Akshay Kumar, coming to you at the speed of light in a cinema near you." Directed by Ali Abbas Zafar, Bade Miyan Chote Miyan is a modern take on the 1998's film of the same name, starring Amitabh Bachchan and Govinda.
दिखाई नहीं दे रहा? आरे की धार तेज कर रहा हूँ.
मेरे को उल्लू समझाए क्या? समझने की क्या जरूरत है? तू तो वैसे ही. मैं सब समझ रहा हूँ. तुम दोनों का अकेले में भागम भाग का प्लान है. मेरे को साथ में लेके जाना पड़ेगा.
Meanwhile, Akshay was in the capital recently to promote his upcoming film Selfie along with his co-star Imran Hashmi. The event was jam-packed with fans cheering for their favorite actor.
So nice to see such a loud, energetic crowd here.
He's one of India's top most sought after performers, singers, and artists. Sonu Nigam was at the receiving end of a vicious attack by the son of a Uddhav faction MLA in Mumbai. He's been injured and he's filed a police case. It's the second case of a request for a selfie resulting in violence, just days after the Prithvi Shaw episode. Take a look at this report.
Bollywood singer Sonu Nigam is the latest victim of selfie craze. Nigam and his team members were allegedly manhandled by Swapnil Fatarpekar, the son of Shiv Sena Uddhav Balasaheb Thackeray MLA Prakash Fatarpekar at an event in Chembur. Nigam's friend musician Rabbani Khan was pushed off the stage. He sustained injuries and was rushed to the hospital.
आजकल आप लोग की जो सेल्फी और फोटोग्राफ का जो चला हुआ है ना, नहीं उसको समझता नहीं, तो उसने पकड़ लिया मुझे, तो पकड़ा, तो उसके बाद में उसका नाम है स्वप्निल प्रकाश फातरपेकर, वो बाद में मुझे मालूम पड़ा। उसने पकड़ लिया तो मुझे बचाने के लिए पहले हरि कहाँ है, हाँ हरि प्रकाश, पहले हरि को उसने पुश किया, तो वो वीडियो में देखेंगे राइट हैंड साइड में पहले हरि को पुश किया है। उसके बाद जब मुझे पुश किया तो मैं गिर गया, देखा होगा वीडियो में मैं नीचे गिर गया हूँ, हाँ मैं स्टेप पे गिर गया, तो मैं अगर मैं साइड में होता तो मैं गिर जाता, तो मैं स्टेप पे गिरा, तो मुझे बचाने के लिए रब्बानी आए, और रब्बानी को तो उसने ऐसे पीछे किया तो उसके बच गया, वो मर जाता, वो अगर नीचे कुछ लोहा होता तो गया था वो।
Security outside the singer's house has been tightened after the attack. The video of the scuffle has gone viral on social media. The police have booked the MLA's son after an FIR was registered in Chembur police station.
आज एक लाइव कंसर्ट परफॉर्मेंस के लिए सोनू निगम जी थे। उस परफॉर्मेंस खत्म करने के बाद में स्टेज से नीचे उतरते वक्त एक आदमी ने उनको पीछे से पकड़ा। जो मामला दर्ज हुआ उसमें एक ही आदमी ने ये घटना में थे जिन्होंने तीनों लोगों को ढकेला। जी चोट लगी थी, उसमें उनके जो साथ वाले थे उनका एक प्रिलिमिनरी ट्रीटमेंट भी हुआ हॉस्पिटल में, और वो यहाँ पे FIR देने के लिए।
BJP has condemned the alleged attack and blamed Uddhav Thackeray-led Shiv Sena faction for the incident.
Once again, the true face of the Uddhav Sena, which has now been reduced to a Gundo ki Sena, has come to the fore, with the MLA of Uddhav Sena, Prakash Fatarpekar's son, attacking Sonu Nigam and some other artists merely for a selfie. This shows the sense of arrogance, entitlement, and also the violent politics and the violent ways that are pursued by Uddhav ki Sena. Today, Uddhav ji should tell us whether he will take action on this MLA, whether he will take action on the MLA's son, and whether such kind of politics is condoned by him or condemned by him.
Accused Swapnil's sister Suprada Fatarpekar has issued a clarification.
मेरे भाई को उनके साथ सेल्फी खींचनी चाहिए और उन्होंने टी शर्ट डाला नहीं था कमेटी का, तो शायद सोनू सर के जो बॉडीगार्ड थे उनको लगा होगा कि कोई बाहर का इंसान आ रहा है, तो उन्होंने उनको रोकना चाहा, तो उसमें थोड़ा धक्का बुक्की हुआ है। एक फैन मोमेंट है जो गलत हुआ है और उसके अलावा कुछ नहीं।
आपको लगता है योर ब्रदर स्वप्निल वाज इन द रॉन्ग, जो उन्होंने किया वो गलत किया, जिस तरीके से किया वो गलत किया?
डेफिनेटली आई विल से, बट मेरे भाई ने भी वो मतलब उनका भी ये था कि इतना फैन के उसमें वो क्रेजी हो गए कि उनको जाके उनसे मिलना था, उसके अलावा कुछ नहीं, और हम सोनू सर से पूरा कोऑपरेट करने के लिए।
कई लोगों का कहना है, देखिए ना कैसा सेंस ऑफ एंटाइटलमेंट है, एमएलए का बेटा हूं तो सेल्फी तो मुझे मिलनी ही चाहिए।
नहीं, ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं है, और अगर ऐसा होता तो मैं भी फोटो खिंचवाती थी, मैं तो टी शर्ट में भी थी, मैं खुद ऑर्गेनाइजर हूँ, और मैं उनके साथ एक सिंपल फोटो भी नहीं होगा मेरा।
Earlier this week, cricketer Prithvi Shaw was targeted for a selfie. Shaw alleged that his car was attacked with baseball bats and that he was threatened and stalked for not obliging fans. Craze for selfies with celebs is evidently getting out of hand. Bureau Report, India Today.
And coming up after this very short break, External Affairs Minister S. Shankar has torn into Rahul Gandhi and the Congress on the issue of China. Says Modi sent the army to the LAC, not Rahul Gandhi. Big viral interview coming up next.
Both the Indian openers looked good in the middle and India reached the 50-run mark without losing a wicket.
Short fine was up.
Ireland's first chance came in the 8th over, but they failed to make it count.
But she's picked out the field and it's down. Would you believe it?
Ireland struck in the 10th over as Shefali Verma got caught by Amy Hunter.
For Ireland, the results in the wicket of Shefali Verma.
Fortune shined bright on Mandhana again as she was given another reprieve.
And unfortunately, couldn't get there. It's Arlene Kelly.
She got to a 50 in style and went on to be India's highest run getter with 87 runs.
22nd 50 in T20Is and her second in this World Cup.
Ireland picked some wickets towards the end, but India finished with a competitive 155 runs.
Riggs on the charge, last ball, missed it. Good stumping. Kelly has a wicket.
The Irish team looked nervous in the chase and there was a mix-up right at the start.
As well. Oh, a little bit of hesitancy. Keeper's end. She might be in strife. She's gone. Well and truly gone.
The momentum had just started to tilt towards Ireland, but then play had to be stopped due to rain.
But it's as heavy as it's been throughout.
Well, with match 18 evenly.
The match got called off due to heavy downpour, and that meant that India secured a 5-run victory by DLS method. With the win, India are also through to the semi-finals. Sports Bureau, India Today.
Looking for their very first win.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
External Affairs Minister S. Shankar has hit out at the Congress's Rahul Gandhi on the issue of the China border issue, the Ladakh standoff, in a stinging attack today at the Congress MP directly. Shankar has said that it was neither him or the Modi government. Nobody was afraid of naming China, declaring that it was the Modi government that had sent troops and the army to the line of actual control in Ladakh, and it wasn't Rahul Gandhi who had done so. So there was no question of any inaction. The Congress has been cornering the Modi government over its China policy. A few days ago, the Congress had said that the government's strategy in dealing with the Chinese in Ladakh was like DDLJ: deny, distract, lie, and justify. Shankar also slammed Western media narratives against India. While questioning the timing of George Soros' recent remarks and the BBC documentary, Shankar went on to say that don't know if election season has started in India, but it sure has started in London and New York City. While staying true to his usual no-holds-barred style, the External Affairs Minister also spoke at length on issues pertaining to national security as well as in the global fight against COVID-19. Listen in.
Rahul Gandhi didn't get convinced by you. In fact, he said that, I think you were, I don't know the exact words, but I think he said that you did not know much about foreign policy matters. You needed to learn a little more.
Well, let me put it to you more accurately. This wasn't at a parliamentary committee. But in parliamentary committees, we have interacted, but usually what happens in parliamentary committee, I try to keep to myself, so I will not get into it with you either. This, I think, was something he said at some kind of public meeting. I think it was probably in the context of China, if I remember right.
Yeah, he's not convinced about China.
Yeah, but I mean,
he thinks that you are opaque about it.
I don't know whether it's opaque or whether, there was a sort of a level of knowledge, understanding. I mean, all I can say in my defense is I have been the longest serving ambassador in China. I have been dealing with a lot of these border issues for a very, very long time. I would say, let me put it to you this way, I'm not suggesting I'm necessarily the most knowledgeable person, but I would have a fairly good self-opinion of my understanding of what is out there.
Okay.
But, if he has superior knowledge, wisdom, I'm always, as I said, for me, life is a learning process.
Superior knowledge, wisdom on China?
If he has, I'm always willing to listen.
Okay. And learn from Mr. Rahul Gandhi on China?
If you think that that's a possibility, I have never closed my mind to anything, however improbable it is. We are not debating just a documentary or a speech that somebody gave in a European city or
New York.
a newspaper edit somewhere. We are debating actually politics which is being conducted ostensibly as media, so there is a phrase, war by other means. There is also, think of it, this is politics by another means. But you'll do a hatchet job. Then you want to do a hatchet job and say, well, this is just another quest for truth which we decided after 20 years to put out at this time. So I mean, come on, you think the timing is accidental? Let me tell you one thing. I don't know if election season has started in India and Delhi or not, but for sure it has started in London and New York.
A lot that is being said that the rise of Mr. Modi and consequently the rise of India. These two things are happening at the same time, which is not acceptable to people in these Western capitals that you're talking and certain Indian quarters too. Do you agree with that point of view?
What is happening is, just like I told you, this drip, 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 how do you shape a very extremist image of India, of the government, of the BJP, of the Prime Minister? This has been going on for a decade. Okay, let's not have illusions about it. How some of this has a different variant, which is you will say something, there's an echo chamber, it'll be picked up outside, then you'll say, aha, see, they're saying it outside, that must be true. Then you will say it inside. So there's a ding-dong going on. See, look, this is a globalized world. People take that politics abroad. Politics of India doesn't stop at its borders. Sometimes politics of India doesn't even originate in its borders. It comes from outside. Ideas come from outside, agendas come from outside. Otherwise, please tell me why suddenly, there's a surge of reports and, attention and views. Were some of these things not happening earlier? So people speak about, okay, you had to make a documentary. Many things happened in Delhi in 1984. Why didn't we see a documentary on that? If that was your concern, that you felt suddenly one day, okay, I'm very humanistic and I must get justice for people who have been done wrong. So look, don't kid yourself. This is politics at play. This is politics at play by people who do not have the courage to come into the political field. They want to have the Teflon cover saying that, I'm an NGO, I'm a media organization, etc. But they're playing politics. I know that.
How does BJP react to this? Is it, or your government for that matter, is it is it a reactionary measure that you have to take? How do you counter this?
I think we will put our point of view across and as should be rightfully done in a democracy, eventually the public will give its verdict.
Which is electorate.
That's what.
It's only by the ballot that these things. If he gets re-elected, that means that they have been proven wrong. Is that it? Is that what you're saying?
Look, I would say yes, among other things, because in a democracy, don't you trust the ballot box and the people's verdict to be the final opinion? I do. I know there are some people who believe that their view supersedes elections. So, in fact, by the way, even that, look at this term. I like you, you win election, great democracy. I don't like you, you win election, what are you? Electoral autocracy.
Yeah, I heard that term.
What a great term, right? That's reserved for people you don't like who win elections. So, this is politics, my dear. If you ask me a single thing we have done in the last 10 years which has shaped global views about us, I think it is vaccine Maitri.
Yeah.
That it's almost, I would say, it's almost emotional to hear what people come and tell you about that.
And yet there was criticism at that time, if you remember, Dr. Shankar, because people said you haven't managed to, or we haven't managed to vaccinate all of our population, and here we were sending vaccines abroad. There was a lot of criticism then.
I don't know if there was a lot, because I think people...
Domestically at least there was.
I think there was loud criticism from the expected quarters. I would not consider it lot of criticism. It's very interesting in this country. You would have people who, when you do things, say, why are you doing it? When you're not doing it, say, why are you not doing it? If there's consistency, the consistency is in opposition to anything you do. Okay? The fact is, I think most people in this country understood that, it's the right thing to do. And let me tell you one thing. When Delta wave came, because it wasn't only the vaccines. Before that there was a hydroxychloroquine, there was a paracetamol, etc. Think how many countries did their bit to help us. And some of them, like say President Biden, the Americans, they said very clearly, saying that, look, India helped us and we are going to help India. So, this very sort of short-sighted view. And sometimes, as I said, the people who claim to be internationalists suddenly become super nationalist. Beware of such people.
And that's Minister S. Shankar, usually one of the most reserved ministers, but in the last couple of years, he's really let it all loose. And this time, after coming under attack by Rahul Gandhi, specifically in the Congress in general, that's Minister S. Shankar speaking to ANI Smita Prakash and giving it right back. We'll keep you posted on some of the bigger things he said right here on Primetime on India Today. But while on the topic of national security, in another swipe at one of our troublesome neighbors, Javed Akhtar, attending a literary festival in Pakistan, had something to say to that country, which was not only out of character in terms of the setting, but it has gone completely viral for all the right reasons. Take a look at what Javed Saab said in Pakistan and to Pakistan.
Pakistan, a nation which sponsors terror attacks against India, is shown its place. Lyricist Javed Akhtar names and shames Islamabad for harboring terrorists.
हम तो बंबई के लोग हैं, हमने देखा हमारे शहर पे कैसे हमला हुआ था, तो वो लोग नॉर्वे से तो नहीं आए थे, ना इजिप्ट से आए थे, वो लोग अभी भी आपके मुल्क में घूम रहे हैं, यहाँ में तकल्लुफ से काम नहीं होगा।
Exposing Pakistan on its soil, Javed Akhtar said that the anger of Indians against their neighbors was justified. The legendary poet also said that while India celebrated Pakistani greats like Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan, Pakistan never invited Lata Mangeshkar.
हमने तो नुसरत के बड़े-बड़े फंक्शन किए, मेहदी हसन के बड़े-बड़े फंक्शन किए, आपके मुल्क में तो लता मंगेशकर का कोई फंक्शन नहीं।
Akhtar was responding to question at the Fairs festival in Lahore. A person in the audience had asked Akhtar to take with him message of peace and to tell Indians that Pakistan was a positive, friendly and loving country. Akhtar's comment has drawn major appreciation on social media from many, including Pakistani artists like Ali Zafar. Actor Kangna Ranaut, who had lashed out at Akhtar several times in the past, heaped praises on the lyricist for speaking out against Pakistan.
उन्हें जो कहना होता है वो कभी चूकते नहीं हैं। कैसा भी माहौल हो, कैसी भी जगह हो, तो बिल्कुल निडर होके वो बात करते हैं। और जो उन्होंने महसूस किया वो उन्हीं की सरजमीन पर कह दिया उन्होंने।
Somebody like him could go and speak what he spoke and could tell people to their face that this is how we behave. Whatever he said was appreciated by a large number of crowd, by thunderous applause.
Javed Akhtar, often trolled in India by the right wing for being a peacenik, is now being hailed for schooling Pakistan over terror, and that too in Lahore. Some are even calling it a surgical strike on Pakistan. Bureau Report, India Today.
Well, that's a wrap on 5 Live. Thanks so much for watching. 6 p.m. Prime with Akshita comes up next. One of the most horrifying videos in the news all year has come to the fore. A young 4-year-old boy mauled to death by 3 street dogs in Hyderabad is the horrifying story that Akshita is going to be investigating and also asking the big question, how to curb the stray dog menace in this country.
Leo.